Alright, in this video I want to do a more in-depth talk of exactly what Francis Ngannou should do with his boxing career. In the last video I said his career is finished in boxing, but really it's kind of not. I think he can still come in here, he can still box a few other fighters. I have a couple fighters on my list that he can fight. It's definitely not Anthony Joshua ever again. I don't think anyone wants to see that. I don't think anyone needs to see that. It was pretty fucking obvious what happened. A rematch isn't gonna change much, unfortunately for Francis. But I think he's gonna go fight in the PFL next. I think he had said that, and so he's gonna go fight a guy called Renan Ferreira. He's like a 6'8", gigantic ass Brazilian with a record of like 13-3. And I mean, yeah, once he's done doing that, if he goes and does that and wins, I'm assuming he's gonna win just because I don't know the other fighter. You never know what could happen. He might lose again in MMA. If he loses in MMA, I don't see him jumping straight back into boxing because I don't really see anyone wanting to fight him. They're gonna say, fuck that, not worth it, unless the money's right. But yeah, I don't see the money being right if he loses again in MMA. So let's assume he beats Ferreira in PFL, becomes the PFL champion. Now we have another situation. We can call him the PFL champion, heavyweight champion, fighting another world heavyweight champion or former boxing heavyweight champion. And the first fight that I can think of is dog. Man, my dog's playing with this toy. My bad if you heard that. But I'm going to say Fury. Yep. Francis versus Fury in a rematch. If Fury wins his fight against Usyk, which I don't think he will. But let's just say Fury does beat him. Then yeah, I would say run that back immediately, ASAP. And this is like on my list. This is like the biggest fight that Fury can make. Not Fury, Ngannou. And this is the fight where he can make the most money, I believe. And this is the fight I also believe he should take, because we've seen Fury just doesn't have the power behind his shots in order to beat down Ngannou. He can't. He's done. I remember in the fight he came in there, Fury, with a straight 1-2 on Ngannou's chin, and Ngannou just eats it. Looks for a check left hook, and he didn't wobble him at all. Versus Joshua, though, those same 1-2s fucking put him down. So because of that, I see the rematch fighting happening in a similar way to the first fight with Ngannou and Fury, just a little more activity from Ngannou, since now he's gonna know, I can hurt this guy, and I can see that being a more interesting fight than the original. And like I said, I see Ngannou actually having a chance to win this fight, especially Fury getting older every day. He's a big ass dude too. Yeah, I don't know how easy it is, when you're approaching 40 years old, to carry around 280 pounds, most of it on your big ass belly. So yeah, Ngannou, I would want to see him fight Fury. If he cannot fight Fury, though, my next fight that I would like to see him do would be against Deontay Wilder. And I don't know, you guys might be thinking, why do we want to see him get absolutely slapped again by another right hand? And the reason is, he might not get slapped by a right hand, because he is the one that actually might sleep Wilder. You see, if you've seen Wilder's last fight against Joshua Parker, it looked like Joshua Parker, well, it didn't look like it. He absolutely just pounded on Wilder. And it just seems like Wilder's washed. And if Wilder doesn't release that too, and he keeps backing up, and Ngannou can definitely catch this 220-pound twig. Wilder, he's a little bit of a stick. I can't lie. He's not a stick. He's gigantic. But when you put him up next to Ngannou, his upper body will look all right. His lower body, he's gonna look like a twig. And I can guarantee you, a 220-pound man is not gonna be able to eat a shot from Ngannou when Ngannou is weighing in at 272 pounds. And also the fact that Wilder is gun shy now, it seems like, is what would make this fight even more interesting. Because yeah, we would have assumed like 5 years ago that Wilder would just brutally knock out Ngannou. But now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure he pulls the trigger on the two. And if he doesn't, I think Ngannou could sleep Wilder. And I would actually favor Ngannou in that fight. So that's the second fight I think he should make. I'm going to run through the other fights I have real quick since they're less interesting. Because if Fury loses against Ulcich and they want to run that one down, which there's no way that's going to happen. I don't see that going down. But let's say Ulcich fights Francis. He has a good chance of knocking out Ulcich, with his power shots. Is just, he's so slow and stiff. I don't know. I see him getting TKO'd, honestly. I don't think he would get TKO'd. I don't know, man. Anthony Joshua put on a clinic against you, and Ulcich put on a clinic against him. Stylistically, like, it'll be hard for Ulcich because he will have to fight a perfect fight. If he gets countered, he could go to sleep with one punch from Ngannou. But I mean, if he can have not perfect, he did get cracked a couple times by Joshua, but I think he can also dominantly demolish Ngannou. So that's a fight he can take that I wouldn't want to see. A couple more. Dillian Whyte, I'm just throwing him out there just as another body. He would be a good fight for Ngannou to have a comeback, have a comeback win. I think he easily beats Dillian Whyte. As well as another fight that I think he would easily win. These wins would probably come by a knockout, honestly. Both Dillian Whyte and my other fight for a tune-up, he can fight Joseph Parker. He beat Wilder and he won against, I forgot his name, the Asian dude. In the undercard of Francis and Joshua. So Joseph Parker is also another body that you can throw in there. He's harder to beat, but I think that would be a really good test for Ngannou, because if he can come back and beat someone like Parker, then he will be more tuned up and more ready to fight someone else, like it could be a stepping stone kind of fight for a Wilder or the rematch versus Fury. But he's definitely not gonna beat Joshua, and that's the only fight I just don't want to see again in boxing. But I said his career was over in my last video. It's really not over. He has like one more fight in him in boxing, but it has to be Wilder, maybe the Fury rematch. Or he could have two more boxing fights if he wants a tune-up fight first, like against the Dillian Whyte or Joseph Parker. Let me know what you guys think, though, down below in the comments.